are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Larck. I would on Twitter. Talk to you about the latest Auburn athletics news. As you know, it's going to be a pretty simple show this morning because the Auburn Tigers getting ready for their game tonight versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Auburn returns back to Neville Arena for, sadly, what is an 8 p.m. ball game, which I don't know why they continue to schedule these games. I don't think there's a single person out there who, unless they want to watch Auburn basketball and they're getting off work at 7:30ish and they're like, oh, well, dang, I got time to watch the entire game. That's the only exception. I don't understand why they do games at 8 p.m. It just is unbearable to watch, especially because we're going to be up to like 11 p.m. watching this game. But Auburn opens up as a 17.5-point favorite in the ball game. ESPN's given Auburn a 90.9% chance to win the game. And, of course, after this game, Auburn has a tough stretch of games where they have to play. They'll get to stay home for Florida next week. If I'm not mistaken, the 8th is on Saturday. If I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, that next week, you got Vanderbilt, who is just now not a top 25 team. They were until they lost to Oklahoma this past week, and Alabama, and just a couple, and actually just a week from now, a week and 6 days from a week from Saturday. There we go. There's the math for everybody before they take on Alabama in the airplane hangar. So Oklahoma, not the best team in the SEC. Currently ranked 12th. They're 3-7 in the conference, 3-6 in the conference. If I'm not mistaken, 3-5 in the conference. There we go. Coming off a win versus Vanderbilt, who again they were number 24 in the country going into that game. And what did they do well? They shot the ball extremely well from the 3-point line. You had a terrible night from Vanderbilt. It shot 26% from the 3-point line, 38% from the field, and 85% from the free throw line, which is really good. The only thing that Oklahoma didn't get better at was free throws. They got 63% from the free throw line, but from the 3-point line, they were on fire. 11 of 20 for 55% shot percentage from the 3-point line. Field goal percentage, 63%. Getting the 30-point win, 97-67, which that's what happens whenever you make 14 more shots or 12 more shots than the opposing team. They just played. They got hot. They stayed hot, and they continued to let it fly over Vanderbilt. In that game, you had Jeremiah Fears, a freshman who had himself a great game, and Jalen Moore right behind him with 19 points. Jeremiah Fears had himself a game, 21 points, 6 rebounds. Now, those two are like the two guys to watch here. There's not really a height discrepancy that goes against the Tigers here. No one on the Sooners is averaging more than 6 rebounds a game. You're really going to be looking at Sam Godwin in that regard. But again, Auburn has that edge. You look at what Auburn did last game against, and now I'm blanking on who Auburn played now. When you look back at the game against Ole Miss, there we go. Auburn started off sloppy. You had a couple of turnovers very early. I want to say they had 5 turnovers early on in that game. And Auburn still managed to find a way to maintain the lead. Whenever Ole Miss got close, Auburn was able to turn things around very quickly and turn a 2-point lead into a 6-point lead, which turned to a 10-point lead, which turned to a 10-point win for the Tigers. Now, of course, what does Auburn do well? Well, we've talked about this several times throughout the year. They just play their brand of basketball no matter what. On the year, Janai Broome, of course, up for National Player Awards, 18 points per game, 11 rebounds, averaging himself a double-double on the season. And, of course, whenever you have the height advantage, it helps to have a guy in Janai Broome and with Dylan Cardwell next to him because it makes rebounding an easier game plan for you. And, of course, Auburn's done a great job throughout the year. I want to say about 3 or 4 games so far this year where Auburn has not been the leading team in rebounds. And if Auburn continue with their stride, I mean, you're looking at Dylan Cardwell, who's averaging 5.5 a game. And then you have Cheney Johns, who's averaging 9.5. And Shebecker Mazar averaging 13 and 4. I'm rounding up, of course, from 13.6 to 4. Sue me if you don't believe in that math. But Auburn has done a great job all year of protecting the rim as well as getting the ball back. Those defensive rebounds, and Auburn did a great job versus LSU in terms of offensive rebounds. That's what this Auburn team is built around is the size they have from their veteran leadership in the front court, and you combine that with Chadwick and Mazar, Janai Broom, and Dylan Cardwell in your starting five, and they're your primary rebounders in the starting lineup. It's hard to out rebound any of those guys on any given night. I think we're seeing the best of Chadwick and Mazar right now. He definitely needed to step up whenever Janai Broom went down for his injury for 3 games, which he was already having a great year, but you were expecting a next level look from him as soon as he became the leading guy. And you're seeing that now. You're seeing a nice little mixture of both him and Janai Broom, which, again, you've been seeing this all year. I'm just trying to make it sound fresher because, Auburn has just been the best team in the country. Yeah, I want to say it's been 4 weeks in a row where Auburn has been the unanimous, or not unanimous, number one, but it's been the number one team in the country 3 weeks in a row of being the unanimous number one. The Tigers getting it done through the AP voters. But how does Auburn beat Oklahoma tonight at 8:00 p.m. CST? Hopefully we can all remain awake during this game. It's going to be a rough one, especially if the game's a blowout. It's just going to be really hard not to just kind of maybe pass out a little bit. You can take a little halftime nap and then come back for the second half because it's going to be a late one. But yeah, Auburn just does what you do, which is control the rhythm of the game. Auburn is key when it comes to controlling that rhythm of the game. Oklahoma, of course, you're looking at their game versus Vanderbilt. They didn't take more shots than Vanderbilt, but they took smarter shots, and they were able to control the pace in that way where they had the shots going down. Of course, and this game was played at Oklahoma. They're going to travel to Neville Arena. Auburn, of course, one of the best teams in the country in terms of playing at home. And, I don't think this game would be the trap game for Auburn. I know they just came off beating Vanderbilt, but this is still an Oklahoma team that isn't – I don't want to say isn't ready for the SEC, but is not a competitor in the top half of the SEC. I think the Tigers get the win here. I don't want to say it's handedly because Auburn's had a nice little stretch of games before that where they were struggling to get those big wins they saw earlier in the year, which a win's a win in college basketball. You're playing in the toughest conference in sports, and you're still managing to find ways to keep yourself on top. Of course, the Georgia game, Tennessee game, and the LSU game, which you won all those games by combined score of 11. I said 11. That's not it. Is that 11? My math is not mathing for that one. I'm not counting LSU. LSU was a 13-point win, but Tennessee and Georgia, which were 2-point wins each. You got to be able to make your shots. You can't be taking dumb shots. I know you're at home and you know that rim like it's the back of your hand. You know where your hot spots are in Neville Arena. But smart shots are going to be key here. You cannot let Oklahoma. There we go. Have another O team in SC is kind of confusing, but you got to play your brand of basketball. Don't let Oklahoma get hot because they saw what happened with their versus Vanderbilt, able to take them down by 30. This is a talented Oklahoma team. They're 16-5. They're 3-5 in the conference, but again, you're playing the best conference in basketball with losses to Texas A&M and Texas to be exact. But I do truly believe Auburn wins this game. I think it's going to be. I'm trying to debate whether or not I'm going to pick the spread or not. I don't think Auburn covers that spread. That spread's a little too iffy for me with it being 17.5. I think Auburn could do it. Definitely think they could do it. But ultimately, I think that Auburn has struggled at times, and I think you're going to continue to see them struggle until something snaps back for them. And I'm not saying they're struggling, really. We're talking about a team that's unanimous number one overall for 3 weeks in a row. They've beaten all but one team they've played. They've they're going to play every single top 10 team in the country. I mean, they've already played 5 of them. But of course, I think Auburn takes the dub versus Oklahoma, continue to do what they do best, and that's win. I'm going to say Auburn wins. I'm going to say 85 to 70. Let's go 76. A 9-point win for the Tigers as they move on to the Florida Gators on Saturday, which we'll be previewing that on the Thursday edition of the College Loop. And of course, we'll be talking about Auburn gymnastics. I will be in attendance for that meet on Friday. We'll be previewing that on the Thursday show as well. And of course, Auburn softball, Auburn baseball getting started very soon. Auburn softball with their invitational this week. And then last little bit of news before we get out of here. I told you it's going to be a quick one today. Getting y'all ready. I don't want to take up too much of your time because, of course, this evening is going to be an 8 o'clock to an 11 p.m. ball game, which I know we are so excited for that. But yeah, quick show in and out, almost 15 minutes. But I do want to shout out DeWanna Bonner leaving the Connecticut Sun and going to the Indiana Fever, joining one of the most polarizing players in the sport of basketball, really. Definitely one of the most polarizing women's basketball players of all time, because Caitlin Clark kind of took over, and now DeWanna Bonner is a part of that, which could be unstoppable in the WNBA. But yeah, I'm super stoked for DeWanna. One of Auburn's all-time greats. Should be one of those athletes that are in line to get their own statue somewhere around the stadium. And Deanna Gaston might be joining her soon. They'll be playing this week as well. They'll be playing on Thursday. They'll play on Thursday as they get ready after putting up a fight versus South Carolina. They have opportunities to get themselves back in the win column as they look to take on, and I'm waiting for everything to load. As they take on Texas A&M, the Aisha Coulibaly revenge game on February 6th. So we're talking about that game, which happens on, I believe, Thursday. So Thursday's show, we cover the Thursday game as Auburn gets into Neville Arena as well, takes on Texas A&M, and sweet revenge put back on to Aisha Coulibaly, who left Auburn a couple years back. She was a star in the making at Auburn. But yeah, talking more about that on the next edition of the College Loop. I just wanted to kind of preview this game of Auburn, Oklahoma. Let me know what you think of the comment. Let me know what your prediction is in the comment section below. Do you think Auburn gets a big dub, or do you think it's going to be another struggle fest and we're all going to be stressed out at 10:59 p.m. Correction, sorry. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, I'm Larck on Twitter, and of course, follow me on Instagram as well at DYLENLARCK. I'm right in the College Loop podcast. Would you like, comment, and subscribe? And don't forget to subscribe. Do it again. If you have already done it, just make a new account. Subscribe again. And of course, check us out on social media platforms as well: Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works, all of them at the College Loop, and audio versions of the show available on Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and of course, Amazon Music. Now, again, told y'all, quick show today. 14 minutes in and out. Y'all enjoy y'all's Tuesday. I will be looking forward to my Tuesday as we get ready for a long night of basketball. Hopefully some good basketball at that. But with all that being said, thanks for watching this installment of the College Loop podcast. And as always, War Eagle.